How important is public relations, you think, to Reveille? I mean, like, how important?
Absolute. If you don't have, let's say it that way. If we have produced Reveille, we find a distributor, and he actually puts it on streams, platforms.
Right. Sure.
So now it sits there, but nobody knows it's there. That means nothing happened. By luck, maybe here and there somebody finds it, but you don't get nothing out of it. Public relation is one of the most important parts and is often forgotten in independent movie making. That is when you hear for our production we had planned 145, we are ending up with about 190 to 200,000 on total cost. That is mostly all going into PR.
Right.
The difference you hear there. And that's extremely important. The festivals is PR. We spent about $5,000, and that's a guess. It could be 4,000, could be 6,000. I'm not in the finance department, so I don't know the exact numbers. But we spent about $5,000 on festivals. Very important, because that created the buzz. That helped us with our distributor. Because if you already have a buzz, the distributor is way more willing to work with you than if you don't have any buzz. Then, of course, our publicist costs some money. And then if you do in social media something, that costs some money.
Depending on if you're going to spend money on like advertisements and things like that.
But you will have to, in order to reach your target groups and to make them aware of something happening now. So public relation is very, very important. If you don't plan, there is big productions, really big productions. They plan 50% of their budget for public relations.
Isn't that wild? It's wild how much it can cost.
We end up, I believe, with about 25%, maybe 30% of our production volume on money goes into PR. And I think that's important. If you don't have that money, don't even make your movie, except you want it just as a keepsake, and you are willing to not make any money back or stuff like that on it.
I think public relations, like when I think about it in the context of film, because there's certain people, when they think about it, they're like, oh, that's just like that's the commercial for the movie. That's selling the movie. Even certain actors, I mean, there's been stories out there of like actors that hate public relations. They can't stand sitting for an interview. They're just like, oh God, I have to answer the same question 20,000 times. Which is fair. I mean, I get that. A lot of it comes down to the person that is doing the interview, how much work they've put into it, what their intention is. I could go on, but I always encourage people to watch these promotional materials for a movie, or to at the very least pay attention to it, because when I look at it, I don't think of it so much as like, oh, they're just selling the movie. It gets me more interested in the world of movies. I learn about the actor's point of view on things. I learn about those behind the scenes moments that happen. They're tremendous learning opportunities as well. So I think at the very least, people that have an interest in working in film professionally, pay attention to that stuff. Watch those videos, share them with people, share the articles if it's a written thing. You can do that because there's just a tremendous learning opportunity out there for them. And I would argue for the general audience member, if they pay attention to the PR and they see it, that makes them appreciate the movie more when they actually watch it. Because then they see that, this isn't just a movie. These are real people that worked on this, and they poured their blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. And it makes them want to share it that much more with people, which is ultimately what you want with your movie. You want it to connect. You want it to resonate with an audience. And yes, PR is absolutely critical for that.
I believe the PR is also important to later on, when now interviews come and the interviewer has seen Reveille and he gets to a certain situation and he asks the actor, why did you do that? Was it in the script, or was it something you developed for your role? Because that's also one thing. There are movies which are shot completely by the script, like a Bible. Reveille was handled a little bit different. Michael Ackerman gave us on set a lot of freedom, where the actors could develop their role and bring it in. When we shot the trailer for Reveille, which we shot here in Iowa Falls, I did something what was not in the script. I will not go into detail because it would spoil the whole thing, but I did something that was not in the script. But he liked it so well that he never corrected it, and then I did the same thing later on in the movie, and it gives a really chilling effect when you see it now in the complete movie.
Okay.
In the trailer, it is there, and you recognize it, but when you see it in the combination now in the movie, suddenly now it really pops.
Yeah.
And Michael Ackerman gave all of us actors this freedom, and that also made it possible that with this freedom you can go in, you can really develop the role, and then go from there and perform it. And with this freedom in it and the trust you get there, you can really make it personal. And that is, I believe, one of the strengths Reveille has, that these actors had this freedom, the actors used it positively, and that is what makes Reveille so believable.
Yeah.
And I believe that's also one of the things which makes the difference between good movies and bad movies. If you don't believe what you see on the screen, you look at a bad movie.
I know you mentioned the trailer for the movie, which I did happen to watch it before I actually had seen the movie at the festival. One, thank God it did not reveal the entire picture. I think that's something that a lot of marketing companies and people that cut trailers together can learn from, is we don't want to have the movie spoon-fed to us in the trailer.
Right.
We want to get a taste of the essence of what the movie is going for, the vibe, if you will. But ultimately, you want the person to go into the movie knowing just enough to pique their interest, but not enough that they're not going to, enjoy the surprises as they happen, or enjoy the changes in the narrative as they play out kind of in the picture. I have a pet peeve for that in trailers. Bad trailers can really ruin a movie. Or, there's ones too where, like I said, if they show a lot, a person's gonna just be, they'll go into the movie and just be like, oh, that's the moment from the trailer, that's the moment of the trailer, and then they basically watch the whole movie. There's no reason to watch it then. I actually think a movie like Reveille, I mean, you could go into it with just seeing the poster, if you will, and just being like, oh, okay, that's a neat looking poster, because it is. I think it's a neat poster. I don't know who did the artwork for it, but it's nice. And you could watch the movie, and you don't need a whole lot more than that to watch a movie like this. But the trailer was nice. I did like that.
There is a reason why trailer often also are called teaser.
Yeah.
Or teaser trailer. They are just there to tease.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that movie. There's a reason why we shot the trailer here in Iowa Falls, but not one scene out of the trailer itself got cut out of the trailer and be reused in the movie. The movie is a complete independent production. Elements out of the trailer you find back in the movie.
Right.
But the scene itself you do not find back, because we did not take them from the trailer. They are not in the movie. It's like the trailer or the teaser here in this case is an independent little piece of artwork. And then we have the movie as a second big piece of artwork.
Sure.
Yeah. I believe that's also one of the important parts. Trailer and teaser is what we talk for Reveille. Trailer is then often what is used, and that is what we have when you look now the trailer we have for Reveille. That are actually sequences out of the movie, but very selected. Yeah, so what we shot here in Iowa Falls is a teaser. That is a complete independent part. Then we have the trailer. That is what you see now when you look on IMDb. The trailers there, that are actually scenes out of the movie.
Right.
But they are very selected, and they do not tell you what's actually going on. And that's how that has to be. That's the important part. And I think Michael Ackerman and Nathan did a great job in putting that together. So that was I believe that is one of the things which worked very, very well with Reveille.
Do you watch trailers a lot just for movies coming out in general yourself?
Yeah, I do. I actually do, yeah. And there's trailers I really like, and then there's trailers where I say, oh my gosh, no, I don't have to watch the movie anymore. Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Yeah. Trailer is an art form by itself.
It definitely is. Yeah, absolutely. So you're what, 2.5 years distance from the movie actually being shot, right? You said it was around.
No, the shot was in March last year.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
Yeah.
But you're some time away from the actual shooting of it. You're now getting ready for the wide release of the picture. Which when is that again? It's August 4th. August 4th.
Yeah.
I'm sure, given the time that you have spent on the movie and just being in this stage of it, you would probably have some tangible advice that you could share with other people that are going to be maybe at the early starting point of their production or things like that. But are there any lessons or advice that you could impart to other filmmakers that are maybe making a similar picture to this that you would tell them to do?
Yeah, from the beginning on, plan with a good amount of money for PR. That's one of the things. Preparation is everything. Make sure you have plenty of time for your shooting. I know every day costs money.
Yeah.
But like I said, for Reveille, I wished we would have had 2 more days for a couple more inlays and a couple more different angles and stuff like that. I wished, but on the other hand, it worked out. So therefore, it's okay. Coverage is everything. Yeah, and that's very important. If you don't have the coverage, you run into holes, and if you run into holes, then your movie will be bumpy. You need to have flowing storyline. Yeah, a flowing story. When you watch on the screen, there can no bumps in it. Yeah, your contingency has to fit. Preparation is, in my opinion, the biggest deal. Make good storyboards. Yeah, very important. The storyboards help your editor. If the director is by himself the editor, you can be a little bit less storyboard oriented because you know what you are doing. But if you have an editor who is not on the set with you, and all storyboards will have a lot because it gives him an orientation. Yeah. So that's one of the things I would say. Crew, you need to trust the people. So look, what do they have done? We had with our crew fantastic luck. Yeah, our cinematographer, top notch. He brought our second camera guy along, Noble, and top notch. Our sound guy here he's now in Cedar Rapids. At that point, he was in Waterloo. Kevin Thorne, top notch. What he made from this very difficult situation in the cave where we had a permanent dripping.
Yeah.
And he was able to get that filtered out or so put in the background that you recognize it's there, but it is not influencing the communications and what happened. You can hear a little fire going and stuff like that. And he made that happen to top notch. Editing, very important that you have somebody who knows what he's doing there. We had with Nathan, they're really luck. Top notch. Yeah. So that are things where you really need to look, and that is where your network has to come together. You have to find the right guys, build your network. Also be very, very important is to know your strengths, to know your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths for your project. Bring your strengths ahead. Where your weaknesses are, find people who cover them. Your weakness is their strengths.
Right.
And find them and build them into your team.
Because I definitely think creatives especially, they don't operate in a way that somebody that is very logistical oriented or project manager oriented is going to be thinking. I definitely think you have to marry the two together. And to me, I think especially, it's just the more people you add to a production, the bigger challenge it is to wrangle it all and keep everything and everybody on point and having them understand the shared vision that you're trying to achieve.
The important part is figure out your budget. That's one thing where a lot of independent have troubles with. So our budget, we had planned 145. We produced it for 145. We did not expect, because we didn't know that after the fact, the PR part would get that far out.
Right.
But luckily we were able to cover that. So that's the important part. It turned out perfect. Yeah. We were able to cover it. So we are set there now. Yeah. And now is the point where Michael Ackerman said that to me, now is the point where the fun begins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's great when you come to that point. It was already fun with all the film festivals to go to Cedar Rapids. You saw we could walk to the front. We won in our category the Golden Eddie. That is fun. Yeah. At the Iowa Motion Picture Awards, I think I had to go 4 times. Yeah, I represented Reveille there,
right,
with Jörg, and I think we had to walk 4 times or 5 times up to the front and took the award, and that is fun. Yeah. Then after the fact, all the connections we built, the networking. From there, I'm now with Michael, his name's Minar. From Cedar Falls, I think he is. We built that connection. Now we talk. Yeah, I see him tomorrow. He has an intern from Austria, so I see him tomorrow there. I went out to Nebraska. Helped with the cross as an actor. Just one day, just a small supporting role, but that's also a connection which came through Cedar Rapids. So we knew each other already, and they had seen already something from me, so they knew who is coming there. And so stuff like that. And that's now all building, and that helps for the future, because whoever now does a bigger project, you know already there is guys, they have already something accomplished, there is knowledge behind. Yeah. They get stuff out there. And they have shown that they can produce quality. And Iowa is coming. Yeah, there was before my time, before I even came here, there was this big scandal here when it came to grants with Iowa. There was a lot of mishandling of grants and stuff like that going on that made it very difficult. That's one of the problems we have here in Iowa. The political situation and the political support for movie making is very difficult. Yeah, and the grant which is there, the Greenlight grant, I think it's called, that is okay. The problem with that is it's set in such a tight time frame, and it's just not the time frame where actually movies are made. Right. It's just somewhere different. Yeah, okay, you can go and plan your movie now exactly into that time frame. But that then sometimes makes also no sense. Yeah, for the production. If you need snow, then it doesn't fit with that time frame.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So and so that are things where I wished we would have a little bit more support from the political side, from the state. Yeah, where they would give us just some opportunities. Iowa has a lot of potential, but when it comes to movie making, it's all about money. Yeah. And that every independent movie maker, and that's one of the big hints. Be aware of it, and if you don't want to get bankrupt on your project, before you start, figure out what is actually your target group and what is the volume of money you can expect coming back from that target group. Yeah. If you do not figure that out, that is like you go in a car sales place and you have $5,000 in your billfold and you want to buy a car for $50,000. That doesn't work. That's the same here. Yeah, if you produce a movie for $50,000, but you only have an audience which brings you back $5,000, that doesn't work. That's the same situation here. And that is where I see a lot of problems with a lot of independents, that they just don't do the work which is necessary. And you can figure everything out by research. You just have to research. Yeah. So, and then you have to spend a little bit money in order to check out if your target group is responding. That's with little ads. Yeah, you create a Facebook page for your movie. You make a little log line into it. You put a nice picture which fits for your movie to it, and then just put that as an ad for small amounts of money out and see how the reactions come.
Well, let me ask you this about the preparation side, because I was just thinking of this when you're talking about how early on you said how Reveille was able to have the luxury of having significant amount of prep. I believe you said 3 months or so, perhaps. Do you ever think that creative people or just people that are working to get to the point of shooting ever get in a rush to get there? Because I just have to imagine sometimes that people's enthusiasm sometimes for a project can outweigh their more practical sensibilities when it comes to the timing of things that have to go into play. You know, we talked about cutting corners or taking shortcuts and stuff because some people see it as, well, we'll get something done quicker or we'll shave some dollars off here and there. My question is about the preparation side of it is how much do you think being patient with the process comes into play?
So let's go here step by step. The first and most important is your script.
Right.
Your script has to be top notch. From the beginning to the last scene, through the dialogue. It
all starts with the script.
All of that. Until your script is perfect, don't even start to think about shooting it.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. First, the script has to be perfect. When you're at that point, then you can go from there and can nail already your need on cast and on crew. Then the next thing is locations.
Right.
These things you can start to nail together. While you are doing that, you can already check out your target group. From there, when you figure out your target group, you can make an estimate what volume and money your movie can bring. There's certain numbers, and you can all research that in the internet. The numbers are available. It's not that they are secrets. There are certain formulas you can use, and you find them in the internet. Then you have already an idea. So, and if your movie has a potential, if well done, and that's the basic thing, your movie has to be well done in any category. Sound has to be good, picture quality has to be good, color grading has to be good, the actors have to be good. If you want to make money with a movie, this all has to be top. Has to be the best it can be. Yeah. You can go and save some money on just creating value differently. And I give you a sample for that. Your script sees a conversation in the janky stadium when that is full and down there the professionals are playing. That shoot for that conversation in the janky stadium with professionals playing down there will cost you a lot of money. You do the same shoot at a community college, football play, with audience around. And you have the communication, you shoot it there, you will save a lot of money. Your movie, by your ideal, is top, the Ritz restaurant.
Yeah.
Perfect served, all. You can shoot it. It will cost you a lot of money because you have to rent the Ritz, you have to make sure that and you have the conversation. So the same conversation you can have in front of a McDonald's sitting on the walkway eating a hamburger.
Right.
Costs you nearly nothing. Yeah. So that is where you actually can create value and still keep the storyline intact. Yeah, and that's where independent producers have to look. How can I keep my storyline intact, but how can I produce them cheap? Any outdoor scene will be always cheaper than indoor scenes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because outdoors you just have to look for a location where it fits and then you shoot it there. Indoor, you have to make sure that your decoration and everything fits and.
Well, not to mention if it's an indoor scene and God forbid there's a window, the light has to be at the right time for the scene, especially if you have to reshoot it. That's a whole other factor that plays into that for sure.
So that are things where I just can throw in. There are ways where you can keep the value and actually add value to your movie. Because if you produce cheaper, you will still have, if your storyline stays intact, you will still have at the end the revenue from it. Mm-hmm. So you have added value to it.
Right.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Do I need 50 people cast? Or can I achieve the same with 15 people?
Yeah.
That's another point, yeah. Where as a producer you can look, do I keep it intact or do I need it really? You know, there's different things where you can add value to your project, and that is one thing you have to look for.
I was listening to another podcast recently. It talks about movies and whatnot. It's called The Big Thing. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's more kind of entertainment, kind of pop culture podcast, but it's very good. But the host of that podcast, he was making a point in saying that with this latest Indiana Jones movie, this thing had a budget that ballooned nearly $300 million, which is, I mean, in my opinion, I think that's crazy. But I'm just curious if you could maybe talk about this for a second, is, you know, more so on the budgets of movies, because while independent films, of course, have to be scrappy. They have to be creative in coming up with solutions to preserve the story and what we're here for, but then also making smart decisions to make it, you know, get made. But then at the same point, I feel like I see movies today that do have the luxury of having so much capital and money at their disposal, but it's completely mismanaged, or they're not looking at it in the right way, and they sometimes will think that more money can make the movie be better. I don't know if that's always true, because I think it, you know, largely depends on the story that you're trying to tell and whatnot, and most people will tell you, well, if I have more money, that's never a bad thing. But I just think you could stand to be creative. You know, if you get bigger with movies, I feel like the temptation is always to do more with the money instead of maybe being the smartest with it. Does that make sense where I'm kind of getting at?
I think I have a very clear picture what I can answer to that.
Yeah.
We started to look for Reveille. We had first in mind to shoot in the LA area in Hollywood and the deserts over there. And that was our first idea. And then we got a couple numbers, and then we learned what kind of permits you all need, and this and that and there. And Reveille, in the way we shot it, we have it done for now with advertising and everything complete, a little less than $200,000. In Hollywood, we would have looked easily at $500,000 to $750,000.
Right.
For exactly the same product. So, and that is, I believe, as you also can look. We flew actors from LA to Missouri, picked them there up, brought them to the location, and then started shooting. Still, we're able to do it for all in all a little less than 200,000.
Right.
Than if we would have done it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is so the point where you also can look. I believe a lot of money in this big production goes also in VFX, I think it's called. The trick photography, green screen.
Oh, like the green screen and blue screen and all the VFX.
VFX, that's what it is. Yeah, VFX, that's what it is. There goes a lot of money in it. Then a lot in trick scenes and stuff like that. And, you want to have nice action scenes. But how far can you go there? Yeah, as an independent one. Do you have a choreographer for a fighting scene?
Right.
Do you train your actors 2-3 days in advance for the fighting scene?
Yeah.
That are all questions which you have to put in the room.
Yeah,
Do you get actors who are already trained in that? They will cost extra. Yeah. And all of that, where you have to look in, that's where I said you have to look where can you create value.
Yeah.
And value is not necessary that you have to spend money. Often it is where you can save money.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there, when I hear 300 million, then I'm asking myself, where did that money went?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot probably goes to the marketing.
That of course. Yeah. I guess at least 1/3 of that movie is marketing.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, so at least. So that would be my guess. I don't know the exact number.
Right.
But I would guess at least 1/3. But then we are still talking 200 million. And I'm asking, where is that going?
Right.
That's, of course, a listed actor, name actor. There you talk already big money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you have an A-lister, makes it very easier to market the movie after the fact.
Of course, they got name recognition. Yep.
That's what it is. So, I would love to have an A-listed actor, but that means then also, if you want to have a name actor in it, you need to go unionized.
Yes.
They don't come if you are not in a union.
No.
Or if your movie is not union qualified.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that means then you stock already, instead of $150 right now per day about for an actor, you are talking $216. That's already $66. Right there. Day, one actor.
Yep.
Yeah. Takes that time 10 days.
Yep.
Takes that time 17 actors.
Yep, it adds up.
Very, very quick. The numbers are going up, yeah?
Yeah.
So that are so these things where the money goes and where you just have to look. For Iowa, it's very problematic with unions because the union is not represented here at all. The next office they have is actually in Chicago. SAG-AFTRA, they have in Chicago an office.
Yeah.
In Iowa is nothing. So what I'm doing here,
right?
Who is also for the actors here in Iowa, if they would be unionized, they can hardly find roles here because who is producing here movies which are unionized?
Yeah.
But if they are in the union, they only are allowed to play in movies which are accepted by them.
Yeah, and obviously in the climate that we have right now, which we unfortunately don't have the time to get into with the strikes and everything, and SAG-AFTRA is like imminently looking like they're going to go in solidarity with the WGA, but yeah, the union thing's an interesting element of it for sure. Because I think anybody that takes the profession of entertainment seriously and getting into the industry, they know at some point having the union play a part in it is going to eventually be a stepping point to get to a wider audience and whatnot. Yeah. But the reason why I bring up just a balloon budget on a big motion picture and comparing it down to Reveille is just for at least myself. Money can sometimes really make a movie pop and really, just sit with you more, like when the money is used smartly to have a lasting effect, especially if it involves VFX and whatnot. But I would still argue that a lot of my favorite movies out there, they don't require some huge, large pool of money to get done. I really think, as you had pointed out earlier, it all starts with that script. The script is, in certain cases, the Bible, right? I mean, if you have a really good story to tell, to me, the story, the characters, the emotion, that's always going to trump any money that you blow on a special effect or, marketing costs and things like that. I mean, to me, a truly good movie is still going to be able to sell based on the characters, based on the heart of the production. I mean, money is, of course, going to give you that extra edge sometimes, and it's going to help you get there. But I don't think a movie like Reveille is certainly one that needed to have, like millions upon millions of dollars in order to be good. Though I'm sure if someone came up and they're like, hey, we'll give you $10 million to make this, they're not going to say no. But still, it's just, I think there's something to be said about money being used responsibly on a set. And not necessarily worrying that if I don't have, tens of millions of dollars at my disposal, I shouldn't even go about trying to make the movie. I don't think that's true. You should still try to make the movie. Don't let money be a hindrance.
No, the point is really, I believe you have to figure out what is your movie worth, where it is going. With Reveille, I always had said, I told you, I have some of my money in Reveille.
Yeah.
I said with Reveille, there's two things why I invested money. First, I liked the idea of how Reveille was made, the story itself and the meaning behind the story. I really liked that. That was very important to me because it shows the soldier and not any cliche. So that was very important to me. The other thing is also, I said, with Reveille. Reveille is a movie that will become a cult movie. And the reason of that is because it's so uniquely made.
Yes.
But historically so correct. With really good actors, even if they are not known yet. But we have really good actors. And the whole row through, it's not just that one or two stuck out. The whole row of actors were fantastic.
Right.
This movie will become a cult movie. It might take 10 years that it goes through the back channels. Did you see that movie? Did you see that movie? But it will get to that point because it is the first movie in that kind who goes so detailed and emotional deep into the soul of a soldier in the Second World War that I ever have seen. And because of that, I believe it will go in that direction. And for me personally, it doesn't matter if the money comes back tomorrow or in 10 years.
Right.
Even if the money doesn't come back, it doesn't matter to me because I didn't put money in, I don't have, I put money in, I had. Makes a big difference too.
Yes.
I always put a warning out if people are going to the bank and start to take credits for money. Yeah, it's a different deal if you go to the bank and have a konto where you can move money, force it back and pay a little bit interest to it. But you have to, it's like gambling. If you have the money, you can spend it and it doesn't hurt, you lose it. It doesn't affect your quality of life. That's okay. But at the moment it affects your quality of life. Keep your fingers away. And that is what I unfortunately see quite a bit in the independent movie making scene happen. That people actually go and
they risk it all.
They risk it all for a movie and then don't have actually done their homework to make it work. And that is I see often. So there is so many things which belong to the movie. That's not just the shooting. It's not just the script. That is the cast. That is the crew. That is editing. That is the sound. That is the PR after the fact. The build up to it. That is the distribution.
Yeah.
Self-distribution is getting harder and harder because of the much amount of content which comes available and gets more every year. It not gets less, it gets more.
Right.
So it gets harder and harder. We are getting now another effect into it, which right now still is not there, but it's coming. That's automatic intelligence, AI.
The artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence, yeah. That's now another factor which is coming.
Yeah, sure
which will bring even more content on the market. Movies are made today way easier, which is a benefit. We don't make them on film anymore. We make them digital.
Right.
The digital, we have in the meantime cell phones, which are so good that you actually can shoot a movie with it.
Yeah.
So, but that also means there's more and more and more and more and more content coming. Yeah, and so therefore be very, very wary what you invest. You can make a feature movie for $6,000 with what we have today available.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, if you can use things you have, if you can shoot it in your house, you can shoot it with your car you have, with your clothes you have, with actors you know from around and all.
Yeah.
You can shoot it for $6,000. The question is just, do you reach what you want to reach?
Right.
So that's where you have to look. When it comes to actors, don't compromise. Don't take friends. Just because you know somebody and he's a good buddy of yourself doesn't mean he's a good actor.
Yeah.
If he's not a good actor, you compromise on quality for a friendship. Yeah. So that are also things where you really need to consider, where is it going? Is that guy actually fulfilling my requirements on the character I have?
Right.
That is a question. Is he able to transport the message I want this character to transport? Yeah. In my case, it was the soldier who is leading, old guy, doesn't want to be there, leading a group of young, unexperienced soldiers, then gets badly wounded and slowly dives away until he's dead. Is your guy who you have that in mind, is he able to deliver that? Yeah. And that is somebody you just pick from the street without training will not be able to deliver that.
I think there's a lot of things that you just mentioned that are ringing true to me, in that one, the non-compromising thing and just how serious you basically are about it. I think that plays a big part into making movies in general, especially independent ones, honestly, because you don't have the luxury of, the perfect catering and luxurious hotels and all this glitz and glam that comes with these big movies. You have to be very serious about it and be willing to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your time, your energy. I mean, you mentioned, Reveille being shot in 10 days. You have 12 plus hour day shoots. I mean, that's not easy. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that. And I'm sure, the best actors in the world, that's kind of how you separate them, are the ones that are willing to get into the nitty gritty. They're willing to roll up their sleeves and do the dirty work in order to get the job done. And there are definitely ones that are not willing to do that. Eventually, I think those ones just kind of get weeded out eventually from the people that are serious about it. But another thing I also definitely think that comes with money and also success, I should say, success especially, is let's say Michael Ackerman, right, the director of Reveille. Let's say Reveille, when it gets released August 4th, it becomes a huge hit. It goes gangbusters beyond what anything would have expected. And then let's say, someone comes to him, they're like, hey, we saw Reveille, we love this thing, and we're going to go ahead and offer you this big stack of cash to make this movie. What I think can sometimes come with a little too much success and too much money is that thing that you just mentioned, is that there are going to be the people that compromise or put their friends in the movie, or they have too many, as they say, yes men around, that you're not focused on the artistic quality at that point. You're just trying to get more eyes and ears on it. And sometimes you settle on things that you shouldn't have. I think that can be sometimes very difficult, especially for creative people to get a grasp of that on. And that's, again, also to me where you have to have people you can trust around you to really watch for your best interests and watch for the best interests of the project, not to get tempted by some of those other things that could maybe, just put it in the wrong direction. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. With Michael, I must say, when it comes to this artistic, when it comes to the detail of script and all, I know he will not compromise.
Right.
Where I see more the fear, he's a young man. The fear is that now people from the outside come and try to take advantage of his success.
Yes.
That is where I see the danger. Yeah. As far as I know him, I know he will not compromise on quality, because that was one thing he was always behind. And Mike Burke's the same, the details and all, Jörg and me, Myra, we really focused on these things.
Yeah.
And Michael is also trained for that. But what I see is that if that really gets successful, that people from the outside come and try to take advantage to hook on to his success.
Yeah.
And
they see a young person that hasn't been fully tested, that they don't know some of these things, and they're like, well, we can, like you said, they just, they leech on.
Yeah. And the truth to be told, we had really, when we started out, we had one more person on the crew as executive producer, and that person didn't make it to the starting line.
Okay. Because
that came with the classical Hollywood ideas. So if we would have followed his advice, we would have produced Reveille for $1 million.
I see.
And then at some point we just recognized that just does not line up with the possibilities, and then we just made at some point the point clear and said, here, listen, that's what we can do. And up to there. And if you don't want to go with us that route, that's fine. But then you have to find other people to do it with you. And that is when our ways departed. Yeah. But Myra stuck from the beginning on with it. So the first one was Michael Ackerman and Myra. Yeah. He contacted her and said, hey, listen, I have here an idea. I need help. So and then Michael contacted Mike Burke. Mike Burke brought Jörg into the boat, and Jörg brought me into the boat. That's how this group basically came together. And then Michael Ackerman had, from his studies, he was at a movie school in LA, one of the big ones. I don't know the name. From there he brought Cooper and Cooper brought Noble, that are a cinematographer and the second camera guy.
Yeah.
And then Michael also found here in Iowa, when we shot the trailer, he found Kevin Thorne. Yeah, which then also went with us to Missouri to do the full movie.
Right.
So that was great. So there's where we had the basic crew. And then Mike Burke brought later on Nathan Frankhoff as an editor on board.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is how that came together. That worked great. And then the whole PR, I brought Buffalo 8 into the game. Myra worked then with Buffalo 8, brought all the deliverables, all this bookkeeping stuff. All of that she did. Yeah. She is great at that. And Jörg was the one who took care of the festivals. He organized the festivals. Which ones do we do? There's also, you have to be selective. Not every festival is right for you. Stuff like that. Yeah. Which festival actually brings you a benefit? Yeah. Just getting a laurel, that's is not necessarily a benefit. It has to benefit you in some way. Yeah. And which festivals you don't even have to try. Yeah, because they are so over the league that you know you will make it. Yeah. For, I would say 99% of all independent movie makers don't even have to try to do Sundance or Berlinale. That are two of the biggest ones worldwide.
Right.
Because nobody from us is on that level to actually just get selected to be shown there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's of course a dream for everyone. Yeah?
Of course. Yeah.
But, when you look on who actually landed at that, and you look a little bit deeper, you see that's all studio background.
Sure.
Yeah, Sundance is not independent anymore. That train is long gone.
Right.
It's all Hollywood studios with their small sub-studios, and they, for the back door, go in as independent.
Right.
Yeah. And so there you have a lot of these things. So you need to be very selective there, because festivals cost money.
Of course. Yeah.
And you do not have the warranty that you get actually selected. That you get screened or that you win something or so. That warranty isn't there. So you have to be very selective which festivals you are doing in order to actually achieve something for your movie. Yeah. And that's in PR again. So Jörg took care of that. And that's also, we had different things we were responsible for, and everyone did his best in order to fulfill that. And that all worked together. And that's why Reveille made this buzz, because it came together as a complete movie. It got finished. It is, from the quality, good enough to actually make it out there.
Yeah.
And we got a good distributor. That's another very important part. We got a good publicist who really brought us in the meantime to quite a few of the big homepages, movie homepages.
Yeah.
Like Movie Web, what you saw there, and quite a few others. We have now to see if we make it maybe into one of the big newspapers which are known for reviews for movies and stuff like that.
I'll be hopeful for you guys for that.
That's now coming up. So that's all this stuff which is now coming up, and we just can hope. Yeah.
I think, what I'll end this on is just, it really takes a core group of people to sustain the making of a picture and to get it past not just the shoot of it, but all that legwork that comes after it. Everything you have mentioned. I mean, if everybody that's listening, there's a lot of work that comes after you hit the final cut on a film. Like, you have to really hold true, and you have to be in it for however long it takes to do it correctly. I don't think, filmmaking is like a lot of things. You don't want to rush it. You also don't want to necessarily over prepare sometimes, because then you'll just never do it. You'll just become a perfectionist and go crazy. There's always accidents that happen in movies. Bernd had talked about how there's a moment that he has in the movie that wasn't planned at all, but the director loved it. So you have to kind of embrace some of the chaos that kind of comes with it. But ultimately, you really got to love it. You really, really got to love it. And I think that has to come through. I think just from talking to yourself, I can feel that. I definitely think the cast and crew, if I were to talk to any of them, they would probably share a pretty similar sentiment. And I'm really honestly just pumped that this movie is finally getting a wide release. I'm sure, like you said earlier, this is the time to really pump the movie up and be happy about it. It's not an easy feat getting something out there like this. Mm-hmm. And you said that this is coming August 4th. People can see it on Amazon and Vudu. Is there anywhere else that they could catch it?
Comcast has a cable.
Okay.
Will have it. And then there's a couple more things in the pipeline where we just wait now for confirmation. So we don't know yet, but we are waiting.
It's very exciting, though.
So, yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for just allowing me to come to your home. I do appreciate that. It's first time I think I've actually been to Walford, Iowa. I don't know if there's anything around here to see. There was a stretch of road to get here that was very, very flat, which is fine, but no troubling weather or anything like that. It's a nice place. I won't go into detail describing this, but where we're recording right now, I had to walk through a lot of antiques.
Yep.
A lot of antiques and a lot of teapots. Could you maybe explain to people? I want to end on that. What's with all the teapots? You have a lot of them.
Okay. That goes back basically to Burdette's mother.
Okay.
She collected them and he gave her every year for her birthday one of these teapots. So, and that's how that came together. But we have a very extensive phonograph collection, antique phonograph collection.
Yeah, you're going to show me one when we're done.
Right, yep. With a main focus on Edison phonographs. We have a private museum here, so we are really antique buffs. Mm-hmm. We are shooting right now. We are in process of producing a TV series called T-Meyer. There we have 3 antique Model Ts.
That's cool.
We have the Sears in it actually running, and this is all stuff we own or friends of us own it. Yeah. And that's cool. So when you can bring these things together and you don't have to rent it or to fly it in or stuff like that, makes it easier. Yeah. And that's what's great on Iowa. We get a lot of support here from the people surrounding us. Mm-hmm. Where we shot T-Meyer, the first part, the Historical Society in Hampton, basically gave us access, and they allowed us inside their museum to redecorate.
Yeah.
So that are things, I don't think you can redecorate a museum in New York.
Probably not.
Not
without a lot of money.
Yeah. So you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that are things, so there is a lot of possibilities. You just have to look, and most important, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we are actually antique buffs. Burdette has his main focus on phonographs. Uh-huh. Mine is on hand-cranked organs and player pianos.
Okay.
And Jörg is music boxes and cameras, movie and photo, but all antique. Yeah. So I told you when you came in, I showed you the one where Leni Riefenstahl was shooting with. In this airplane movie. That's sitting here, and that is registered with UFA. So the register number you can look up at UFA, and that tells you exactly in which movies that camera was used.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's German accuracy in bookkeeping, so you can follow up on all of that things. Yeah, and we love it. And that's also one thing what we bring into the movie, this love for history, for this old material, for this stuff the kids from today don't even know about it anymore.
But they will. That's the power of film, is you can get that to come across.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for T-Meyer, just to throw it in the room, very important part in the first part is the phonograph, which will be there introduced, and kids will see the first medium wherever sound was recorded on.
Yeah.
Our whole movie making today we have would not have happened without Edison.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't know. Yeah. Edison was involved in so much development of so many things, and capturing the sound actually and be able to replay it is one of the big challenges. I put Edison always with a couple of guys the newer generations know. Bill Gates. With Microsoft, with Windows. that was one of the big inventions which changed civilization.
Yeah.
Edison with electricity, with the light bulb and the phonograph.
Yeah.
That were two big inventions which changed civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole music industry would not have happened without Edison.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first one who produced industrial level phonographs.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the first one who put out picture boxes where you could like dias.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first one who actually put moving pictures on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Not compared to what you see today as moving pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was the one who developed the technique for it. And a lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's very interesting. Yeah. So
I think it's important to appreciate the history and just know, and recognize exactly, just to your point, that without these few people, I mean, it doesn't take a lot of people to create mass change.
Yeah.
And evolve things. And I think, we're at an age and, a point right now in time where it still happens. It still happens. I mean, you mentioned artificial intelligence. I won't go down the rabbit hole on that because there's plenty to say about it. But that's another instance where if it's used correctly, I mean, there's so many things it can save time on for sure. But then there's, of course, a ton of dangers with it, because anything that's new, that changes the way things are done, that changes the status quo, is going to present risk. Yeah. But that's why we also appreciate history. History has lessons. It shows us the pros of something, but then it also shows us the errors of a certain thing and how we can learn from that in order to keep advancing. You don't have that without history.
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I don't got anything else for you. You've given me plenty of your time. I really enjoyed the conversation. Check out Reveille. Seriously, check out this movie. It's going to be out there on Amazon, Vudu. Those are definitely things that I know you have access to. So don't come up with any excuse. Check out this movie. Give it a watch. Bernd, lovely having you back. And that's it. So we're good.
Thank you very much.